Greetings, everyone. This is Rock and Roll Spot coming at you with the weekly comic book roundup. We've got us a decently sized haul, not as big as the last couple weeks, but close. So let's get started. Kicking things off, we've got Avengers X-Men Eternals Judgment Day, number 6. Wrapping up, quote unquote, this year's Marvel event. So, where we left off, the Earth failed. And a strike team of X-Men, Eternals, and Iron Man were fighting their way through the progenitor to basically stop the destruction of the Earth. So things are looking good, and so Cap comes through a portal in Central Park, where Jada is kind of waiting for the end to come, and basically pulling people through to help them, so they can survive, because the Eternals have a plan to save as many people as possible. We catch up with some of our civilian characters. Tom's building is burning, and he has convinced he thinks it's all, well, as a portal opens up outside, he sees it and doesn't trust it and stays inside his house as it as it burns. Katarina sees a building burning, goes inside and starts helping people get out. She goes in 5 times to help people get out. After the 5th time, however, she doesn't return. Daniela gets her mother through into one of the portals. Has a brief thought about needing her bike, but then realizes, that's not what she needs. Kenta is found by Jada, as his parents aren't with him. Arrow says that he can to calm everyone. Nightcrawler and Cap begin planning. And well, Trigger's taking a new tactic, going straight for as Phastos has managed to make it so that the has done a cold restart of Machine Head's Earth in an effort to slow down the progenitor's progress. Inside the progenitor, our strike team is attempting to is making its way through, and Sinister's a little bummed that it won't judge him. Makar notices that something's changed. They get to the core of the Celestial, and Jean lunges at it. Basically, as she puts it, using Betsy's trick, Psychic Blades, but with with a bit of Wolverine for flavor. So 3 from each hand. But Ajax hits her. The progenitor arrives at Olympia, where the Eternals are trying to, save as many people as possible, and the armies of Euros are open to everyone. Hey, need a weapon? Take it, use it. Then one of the Hex attacks, getting a bit of a boost in power from Exodus. Another attack is made on the Celestial, which has a kind of a core human form, humanish form, humanoid. But that doesn't seem to do any good. But so Cersei tells the world of the secret that the Eternals have been keeping from them. That every time one of them dies, a human dies, so they can be brought back. And the progenitor destroys Cersei, and she's not brought back. Ajax very pointedly, when the Celestial says that they deserve to die, the Ajax says, "Yeah, maybe we do," but then asks if the Celestial as a progenitor deserves to kill them. She states that she wanted a better god, and if the progenitor destroys the world, then it fails. But the progenitor basically gets talked down and then merges with Ajax. Ajax kind of saying, she'll be watching the Earth. A lot of people, those who died during everything where the progenitor was casting judgment, are brought back, and a treaty is. Eros keeps up his end of the bargain to. And Zuras becomes Prime Eternal. A treaty is formed between Krakoa and the Eternals. Druig has been imprisoned alongside Uranos. One of the terms of the treaty is that Storm wants Druig, basically, Druig, he's wanted to bury the bones of those killed on Araco. But his eternal punishment is being imprisoned alongside Uranos. But Storm asks Zuras, why won't they go to war again? Why the Eternals won't go to war? And this explained that Zuras has a more conservative interpretation than Druig. While mutants share some DNA with deviants, it's of little matter. Though he has until a mutant triggers their physiological excess deviation response, they're not deviants in the way that counts. Then, the Eternals are pretty much being treated the same way the mutants are, but Jean is somewhat of the solution for the kind of, well, at least the resurrection problem. Stated that mutant kind recognizes that they have a uniquely fortunate nation, and nations that are fortunate have a duty to aid those who are not. So, in the spirit of foreign aid, she will personally be scanning those who are selected for immediate backup and recovery. The Phoenix Foundation is a body independent from Krakoa who will be selecting those who receive the gift of resurrection. So prioritize the vulnerable, the weak, the poor, and those whom the world has abandoned. Adding that they can't save everyone, but they will save who they can. Cyclops states privately to Jean that even with the losses, that he'd say that overall this was a win for the X-Men, though he wishes it wasn't a win for Orchis as well. Tony's kind of gloating about the fact that Steve failed. Steve gets later on though. Steve gets Jada a cup of coffee, and they discuss things. And a statue is rented to Cersei, and Ajax remains eternally in judgment from ever even kind of shaking. It seems to it's implied at least, and that is where the story ends. There's still a how do they call it? Do they call it Omega or yeah? There's still AXE Judgment Day Omega, which will be coming out next month. And on a side note, the event recap to cover the last month's worth of this past month's worth of Judgment Day tie-ins will hold off until after Judgment Day Omega comes out. Moving on to our next book, we've got New Mutants number 31, kicking off an all-new arc with a new creative team. So we've got, and also focusing on a new member. So the New Mutants are well, the Lost Club kids are in class, creative writing. Though, I know that isn't the point of it. Saying the only reason to write a story is to leave something behind after you die, and he's not doing that ever. So why bother? Pyro is present, though I have to note that apparently Pyro got rid of his face tattoo. Emma wants one of the newer students, Escapade, to maybe see some action. Escapade is hanging out with the Lost Club. Did we get a name on the bespectacled one? I don't recall. Okay, Leo Egg. But we get an explanation of how Escapade's powers work. She kind of switches places with people. It's not in a teleportational manner, but for example, we see, I think that's supposed to be, her doing so with Angel, and suddenly she is flying in Angel's costume with Angel's wings, while Angel's wearing her clothes, and and doesn't have wings. Apparently, but she doesn't like using her power because she was shown a vision where she loses control and uses her powers on her best friend Morgan, because she's falling to her death and trying to change places with them. But they're going on a field trip, and so, but she Escapade gets Morgan to come meet her, explaining that some of her fellow Krakoans need to are besmirching an anime character that she's especially fond of, Time Archer. But there are, of course, the prerequisite anti-mutant protesters at the event for Young Mutants. And however, it gets worse as a portal opens up, and out step the U-Men. For those potentially unaware, the U-Men are a group of are an anti-mutant group who go after and kill mutants, and then harvest their bodies to graft them onto themselves so that they have powers. But most of the contingent that was sent are taken prisoner. This is especially traumatic for Cerebella, as back before she was No Girl, in fact, what led to her being No Girl, she was taken prisoner by the U-Men, and they're the ones, in fact, who removed her brain and put it in a floating jar. But Morgan's able to find at least a flaw in the cell, but it doesn't work as well as they hoped. And of course, we learn that John Sublime is back in charge of the U-Men, and well, upon seeing Cerebella, he decides that he states that he basically means to put her back into a jar, and that is where the issue ends. The U-Men are, villain-wise, it's nice seeing the U-Men back. It's also nice to get I like the having the focus be a little more on the younger mutants. Though as much as I'd like that, I do wish that some of the older New Mutants might graduate onto other teams. But at the same time, they're supposed to be teachers, so yeah, it's a thing. Otherwise, it was a good start to a new story arc and a new creative team. So, moving on to our next book, we've got Wolverine number 26. So our last two issues were AXE tie-ins, and so yeah, we're not really going to bother with a recap there. But previously on, Logan has a friend within the CIA by the name of Jeff Bannister. And thanks to Bannister, Logan discovered a group called Legacy House. Legacy House specializes in superhuman memorabilia. Not in the not in the not in the way about a Moon Knight T-shirt. More like here's Bushman's discarded face that from when Moon Knight cut it off, or perhaps a severed forearm from Wolverine, claws out. Yeah, stuff like that. Wolverine went undercover to attempt to purchase the severed arm himself, and then just stealing it, as well as something else was up for auction on that occasion. Maverick, though Maverick has since started working for Legacy House, but the issue begins. Wolverine is thinking about how his life is kind of just this endless it's just constantly fighting, but occasionally something will bring him back to reality. We get these various shots of him fighting. We got an OG shot of him in the X-Men. An older one with him and Spidey fighting Venoms. Another one with Logan and his kids fighting the Reavers. Each time, there's always something that catches Logan's eye. It's something mundane that catches his eye. But Bannister turns out Recently, he's been seeing. There's this woman he's been seeing on a park bench when he's on his lunch break. So he decided one day to go talk to her. But by the time he gets there, she's leaving from her lunch break. Though she leaves her magazine, the Antiques magazine. She's a bank teller, though, it turns out. But Logan and Bannister are talking with Bannister's kind of saying, being having a desk job at the agency is, well, lame. He misses the field work, but Wolverine says, "Hey, it's just like, hey, I'd kill for that. I'd kill for just get a job where I just get to sit down and not where my job isn't to run out and cut people and slice and dice people." But he talks about the various jobs he's had, and but it's their regular bonding over a six-pack. However, it's interrupted by Beast contacting Wolverine. However, Wolverine gives Bannister's daughter a gift. A severed finger from Deadpool. It explained, that it's Herkia Krakoa. But that way she can use it by keeping hold of Deadpool. If she's holding Wade's finger, she can go through the gates. But there's an info report from Bannister. He flipped through the woman's magazine, and it's explained that he has his daily reading, assigned by the office: books, screenplays, comic book scripts, newspapers, magazines, so on and so forth. But he's also been looking for leads for Legacy House on the dark web. Then he started to notice something in some of his reading, that a classified ad that it would appear, and he realized that, of course, something like Legacy House would be going for ads in print, not online. So, but after a mission simulation in the Shadow Room, the idea being that the mission in the particular mission being Wolverine, Domino, Deadpool, and Omega Red taking out a group of Iraqi pirates in Madripoor. It's a training mission, basically. Well, training for the mission, which is a mission that should be added that Wolverine disagrees with, because these pirates haven't done anything. It's a preemptive strike, and Wolverine doesn't like that. Though Beast thinks that... But the Legacy House bit has led to Bannister contacting Wolverine, so they break in to a museum and run right into the girl that Bannister's been seeing on the park bench. Turns out, well, it's the merchant who runs Legacy House with an image inducer. But the merchant cuts off bits and pieces of Wolverine and offers them up for sale. Cutting off an ear, gouging out an eyeball. Yeah. Hell, just a .40 caliber bullet dug out of his body. However, there's another bid. Beast wanting to know how much it would cost to be the one who killed Wolverine. And that is where the issue ends. That, to be fair, Beast has been going on, has little by little been going more and more, taking more and more of a villainous turn over the years. So yeah, can't say I'm entirely surprised that that would be his. His it could easily though be a ruse. You know, talk about the fact they've had their disagreements and boiled to a head, but you know, maybe it's just like in this case, yeah, he's using that as a means of not of saving Wolverine. So we'll see. Moving on to our next one, we've got X-Terminators #2. Where we left off, while having a girls' night, while Jubilee, Dazzler, and Boom Boom were having a girls' night out, on account of Dazzler's recent breakup, they got captured by vampires because the ex-boyfriend was, in fact, a vampire, and basically put into situations where they had to basically kill their way out of, which led to them coming upon the star attraction for this, which was Wolverine killing various killing for a live audience. But when Wolverine sees her fellow X-Men, she especially stops and is like, you know, waves and says, "What are you guys doing here?" It's actually probably my favorite panel of the week. Or 2 panels, I guess. Well, yeah. Got that. And then, yeah. Oh, hey guys. What are you doing here? Boom Boom is, well, Tabby's Tabby. But for the rest of most of the at least issue, probably the rest of the series will be kind of told in a flashback format, which I hope explains why everyone's why everyone's in costume for talk to the Quiet Council, and well, yeah. But the crowd of vampires is booing them. It suggested that Julie suggests, you know, that since she wants into pro wrestling, you know, Color just kind of just follow her lead, and so Jubilee and Boom Boom start duking it out, but Wolverine and Dazzler are kind of just like, yeah, they're vampires. They want blood. And Alex, Dazzler's ex, turns out to be none other than Zaris, son of Dracula, and the vampire who once turned Jubilee. But he wants Alex to, you know, basically just kill the X-Men and have it done with. A mirror maze is erected around our heroines, which in fact cuts off one of Wolverine's arms, meaning that this likely takes place before recent events in which Proteus accidentally resurrected Wolverine with a full adamantium skeleton. But turns out that the mirrors used for this maze are mystical mirrors. Fairy magic. And it's explained not to look in the eyes of your reflection because, well, yeah, so and Boom Boom has an idea. Use one of her time bombs to blow up the mirror maze. But well, it's very magic. Yeah, it works for a second, and so they have to basically just go through and brutally fight off their mirror doubles. While the turns out that the Fae creating the maze is, well, held the prisoner of Alex's. And to avoid creating additional mirror doubles, Jubilee takes Boom Boom's hair ties and blindfolds herself and Boom Boom, while Wolverine and Dazzler make their way through with their eyes closed, holding each other's hands and with their eyes closed though. But apparently, there's a group of vampires that's being ushered into the maze to deal with the four X-Men, and that is where the issue ends. This has been honestly, this has been a fun. It's been a fun series so far. Yeah, and yeah, the first issue was great. Second issue does not disappoint. So, yeah, kind of why I made the thumbnail. Moving on to our next book, we got X-Men Legends number 3, focusing on Longshot, Mojo, and Spiral. So, this takes place shortly after the Longshot miniseries from way back in the day. But Mojo has recovered Longshot, and him and Spiral, and Mojo's got Spiral taking himself and Longshot back to Mojoverse. The basic idea is he's going to put Mojo back. He's going to put Longshot back into his movies. Spiral showing a bit of a backbone against Longshot, not Mojo, not to the point of turning on him, but more just I would say actually more not so much backbone as much as ambition. But Mojo left the portal open, sort of, and grabs Wolverine. After the portal is seemingly closed by Doctor Strange, it's able to be reopened, and Wolverine and Shadowcat are pulled through the portal, along with Longshot, or Lockheed, because Lockheed's perched on Shadowcat's shoulder. And, well, the three of them are going to be in a Mojo-produced war movie with Longshot. The whole idea being that, yeah, they're going to kill all of them. But that is and that's X-Men Legends number 3. The new format, the fact that it's not after all a new format, it's just a new start, makes it a little more palatable. It would have the writers, in fact, Anna Senti, who co-created Longshot, or possibly created. I know she wrote the original Longshot miniseries. So yeah. So new format's it's not exactly a new format. It's just But we'll have to see where things go with it. And moving on to our last book for the moment, we got the Moon Knight Annual. So I really liked this. Shock! I really liked the issue of Moon Knight. I know I'm shocked at the idea too. So, for those unaware, Moon Knight first appeared in an issue of Werewolf by Night. So it's kind of a big deal whenever Werewolf by Night pops up in Moon Knight, because it's a nice little nod to Moon Knight's past. And you're not going to really see Moon Knight popping up in Werewolf by Night, because Werewolf by Night doesn't often have his own book. In fact, the last Werewolf by Night miniseries had nothing to do with Jack Russell at all. So, some background. Marlene, Mark Spector's lover, and the father of Jake Lockley's daughter. After the age of Khonshu, she took her daughter and went to Europe and basically told Mark, "Don't come looking for us. Just stay as far away from us as possible." Well, I don't think that's something that can really be helped. So the fact that she showed up at the Moon Knight mission is definitely a big deal. Why did she show up at the Midnight Mission? Because Jack Russell, Werewolf by Night, kidnapped their daughter. Turns out it's for a ritual, and werewolves were actually the curse of lycanthropy in the Marvel Universe comes from Khonshu, and the Fists of Khonshu. Part of their whole thing is to basically keep werewolves in line. The idea was to make a race of berserkers for Khonshu, hence werewolves. But because of this, Mark says he's going to need some backup, and so he asks Hunter's Moon. Hunter's Moon is not happy with Mark for having a child, saying it shouldn't be possible. But Mark talks him into helping, and not going and killing the child, not going and killing the child himself as he initially intended to. Also stating that if we're brothers, then she's your niece, so family. But Khonshu is constantly telling throughout the mission to save Beatrice. But Khonshu's trying to get Bedir to kill Beatrice. Also, the ritual in question is not so much to remove the curse, so much as kill Khonshu. But so they make it through. Bedir is sent to rescue Beatrice while Mark goes after Jack. While all this is going on, Marlene and Reese are talking, and Reese is kind of Marlene basically, hey, look, oh yeah, you like Mark, he's likable, Jake and Steven, they're all likable, and okay, so Reese wants to protect them, Marlene gets that. Mark's got a lot of problems, and when Reese brings up that Mark saved her, Marlene simply says that that's the thing, is that he saves people, everyone but himself and the people closest to him. But Bedir opts not to kill Beatrice, and also points out that if he and Mark are brothers, then Khonshu's their father, which means that Beatrice is Khonshu's granddaughter. But when they leave, and also Bedir does explain the state to Khonshu that Beatrice's bravery does Khonshu credit. But Mark does tell Jack that if they see each other again, Mark's going to kill Jack. And Beatrice won't be there to stop him. But Marlene and Mark talk before Marlene leaves. And the quartet go out for ice cream. That is where the issue ends. It's nice seeing Werewolf by Night back, especially Jack Russell. I honestly did enjoy the miniseries from earlier this year, late last year. But yeah, it's still nice. It is nice to see, progenitor characters, basically. But anyway, that's going to do it for now. As always, feel free to like, share, and subscribe. Links to my Facebook, Twitter, Patreon, and PayPal found in the description box down below. This is Rock and Roll Spock signing off, saying, live long and rock hard.